Hey, welcome! Have you ever wondered what happens when someone the court needs to speak with just disappears? A warrant is out, but the person seems to have vanished into thin air? Well, the legal system has this really powerful two-step process to handle exactly that. It all starts by casting a very, very wide net. Let's get into it. So, let's set the scene. A court issues a warrant for someone, but that person has absconded or they're actively hiding to avoid it. What can the law actually do? This isn't just a small problem, it's a direct challenge to the justice system. But don't worry, the law has a pretty methodical response to make sure that nobody is beyond its reach. And it doesn't start with force, it actually starts with a simple public announcement.
Right, so the very first step in this whole legal dance isn't about seizing assets, not yet anyway. It's all about communication. The court's main goal, first and foremost, is to get someone to appear by making a formal, public declaration.
And that public notice has a specific name. A proclamation. Now, under Section 84 of the law, if a court has good reason to believe that a person with a warrant out for them is hiding, it can publish this written proclamation. It names a specific place and time for the person to show up. It's basically the law's official way of saying, hey, we know you're out there and you are required to come to court.
And believe me, the law is incredibly thorough about making sure this message gets delivered. They leave no stone unturned, and for a good reason. They want to remove any doubt. Section 84 lays out 3 mandatory steps. It's not one or the other, it's all 3. It has to be read aloud publicly in their hometown, physically attached to their house or somewhere obvious, and posted at the courthouse. The court can even add a publication in a newspaper just for good measure. This makes it almost impossible for the person or anyone in their community to turn around later and say, oh, I had no idea.
And this isn't an immediate demand. The law actually provides a really clear deadline. The proclamation has to give the person at least 30 days from the date it's published to appear in court. Think of it as a grace period, a 30-day window to comply with the court's order before things really start to escalate.
Okay, so what if that 30-day window closes and nothing? The person is still a no-show. This is where the law raises the stakes, and I mean significantly. We're moving from communication to some pretty direct financial pressure.
So, this next stage is called attachment. What does that mean? The court can order the attachment of any property, movable, immovable, you name it, that belongs to the person in question. This means the court takes legal control of their assets. We're talking their house, their car, their bank accounts, the whole shebang. Now, the goal here isn't to punish them permanently, it's to create a really powerful incentive for them to stop hiding and finally show up in court.
But, and this is a big but, there is a critical exception. Usually, attachment happens after the proclamation. But, as Section 85 points out, if the court gets wind that the person is actively trying to sell their stuff or move their property out of reach to avoid it being seized, well, it can order the attachment immediately, like at the exact same time the proclamation is issued. The law is not going to sit back and wait if it thinks someone is trying to pull a fast one.
And this chart really shows how practical the process is. I mean, you can't seize a building the same way you seize a car, right? So for movable property like cash or vehicles, the court can physically seize it, appoint a receiver to manage it, or just order anyone who owes them money to stop paying them. For immovable property like land or a house, the process is a bit different. It often goes through the district collector, or it might involve taking possession and telling any tenants, hey, you don't pay rent to the owner anymore, you pay it to us.
The law also has some common sense built right in. What happens if the attached property is, say, a herd of cattle or a truck full of fresh produce? Well, Section 85 has a solution for that. The court can just order that stuff to be sold immediately. It's a way to preserve the value, before it rots or costs a fortune to maintain. The money from that sale is then held by the court instead. Pretty smart.
Now, this is where things can get a little complicated. What if the property that gets attached doesn't belong only to the person who's hiding? What if there's a business partner or a spouse? Well, the law has a specific process to protect the rights of innocent third parties caught in the middle.
So if you're that innocent third party, listen up. The law gives you a clear timeline to protect your interests. According to Section 87, you have 6 months from the date of the attachment to file an official claim with the court. If the court looks into it and says, nope, we don't agree, you're not out of options. You then have 1 full year from the date of that rejection to file a civil lawsuit to formally prove your ownership rights. It's a really crucial safeguard.
All right, so we've seen the public notice and the seizing of assets. We've come to the end of the road. This whole process ends in one of 2 very, very different outcomes, and it all depends on the choice made by the person who's absconding. This is the final reckoning.
And the choice, along with its consequences, is pretty stark. As Section 88 lays it out, if the proclaimed person shows up within the time specified in the proclamation, the court releases their property. Simple as that. But if they fail to appear, the consequences are severe. The property they own is placed at the disposal of the state government. It's a major fork in the road.
But even then, even after all that, the law offers one last chance. Section 88 has this remarkable little provision, the 2-year window. If the person shows up on their own or is caught within 2 years of the attachment, they can argue their case. And if they can prove 2 things, 1, that they didn't run away on purpose, and 2, that they genuinely didn't know about the proclamation, they can get their property or the cash from its sale back. It's like a final lifeline.
So what happens to the property that now belongs to the state? Well, they don't just put a for sale sign up the next day. The law requires a waiting period of at least 6 months from the date of attachment. And it can only be sold after any and all third-party claims have been completely sorted out. It's a final safety net to make sure all legal avenues are exhausted before the property is gone for good.
So there you have it, proclamation and attachment. It's a methodical, step-by-step escalation designed to compel someone to show up to court. But it does leave us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? Is this just a tool to apply pressure and uphold the court's authority? Or does seizing someone's entire livelihood before they've even been tried cross the line into preemptive punishment? It's a powerful mechanism for sure, and one that walks a very, very fine legal line. Thanks so much for joining me.